This is the new Nubia Music. How can fun be this cheap?
Sunshine.
When those popular Android brands are trying to sway us to buy their most expensive devices, there are other brands that would offer you niche phones that is so unique but will not break the bank. I thought when Nothing released Phone 2A and CMF Phone 1 that they could be the most interesting phones this year. I was wrong. ZTE just released what could be the most innovative and consumer-centric phone that caters a very specific demographic. With its booming speaker, loud design, and screaming price tag that is less than $100, you may find yourself buying this beauty without needing a new phone. This is the quick unboxing and full review of Nubia Music. How can fun be this cheap? Let's start with the loudest feature of this phone on the first look. I think the design is one of the most impressive features aside from the speakers and the headphone port that could make you sway in buying a cheap phone. We got two design choices for Nubia Music. One is a plain orange, a minimalist but still a good looking design, or you can also buy the combination of blue, yellow, red, and white that looks like the colors of the Philippine flag. It's super striking like you own a gaming phone. The buttons and ports on the sides are minimal. You only have a SIM slot on the left side. It takes one SIM card and one micro SD card, or you can put two SIM cards at the same time. On the right side, you have the volume rocker and the power button with the red accent. It also acts as a fingerprint sensor. And actually, this is the most annoying part of the design, wherein you would always accidentally click the power button just because it is sitting in the middle of the phone where your fingers rest and wraps off the phone. On top, you will have a dual audio port that could take an earbuds or a headphone with a microphone, so you can share music, or you can even have two people wearing the headphones while on a video call. And at the bottom, you have the USB Type-C port and a microphone. And if you're thinking where ZTE put the speaker grill, it's at the back of the phone where the camera module is located. There's a DTSX logo that brings to highlight that this is the biggest feature of the phone, a big speaker sitting at the back of the phone. You got two camera modules with the word AI dual camera. I doubt that there's any artificial intelligence involved in the camera processing, but it's there for aesthetics. Unfortunately, there's no water protection specified on this phone, so be careful on dunking this to water because I bet this won't survive. And the best thing about this phone is even though it's just $100, you will have glass on both sides of the phone, and that's really awesome instead of snapping plastic back, which can be easily scratched. In front, you have a mediocre 6.6-inch IPS LCD with 90Hz refresh rate. The higher refresh rate allows some decent gaming to be played on this phone. It's a regular 720 panel with 267 ppi, not as good and bright as the other screens in the market, but for the price it offers, I wouldn't complain with the 720p, and by watching HD videos, it feels like the same as any other phone on this price bracket. Again, there's no screen protection advertised on this phone, so make sure to put a screen protector just to make sure that it will not break for the first few weeks or months of usage, and also to prevent scratches from the coins or keys from your pocket. The audio or sound quality is the best feature of this phone, and I wouldn't lie, it's a little bit gimmicky, but certainly there's an improvement over its competition on the budget segment. The back of this phone has this big speaker with DTSX logo that promises good sounding quality. I mean, for the size of the speaker and comparing with the other phones, you would think that it's 10 times as loud as the competition, but it's not. Although it was advertised to have 600% louder than the other phones, it sounds a little bit underwhelming unless you put the phone on a flat surface, where it would create a boombox effect. Here, I would give you some sample audios where you're holding the phone and when the speaker is face down on a flat surface. Aside from the big speaker, you also have a dual audio port that I could see three usage for this. First is for video conferencing or just sharing your music with other fellow. You can insert two headphones or earbuds on this phone, both with mics, and they will work just fine. Second, you can use this as a monitoring for vlogging. You can insert the microphone on one of the audio jack, and you can put the monitoring headphones on the other port to listen while recording. And lastly, you can use the other port as a backup. Just in case one goes bad over time, we will still have one more audio port to be used. For $100, the performance is underwhelming. I wouldn't cry about how you cannot play Genshin Impact or heavy games just because this phone was not created for that purpose in mind. It's using a Unisoc T606 processor. Again, it's a good processor comparing it with Helio G36 phones, and certainly better than any other phones on this price bracket. You may be able to play Mobile Legends on medium to high settings, but I wouldn't complain if it stutters here and there. The best use of this phone is for music or content consumption, where you would play Spotify while scrolling to social media or responding to a text, while watching videos via Netflix or Prime Video, or even be the life of the party by playing some good music off the loudspeaker. It has 4 gigs of RAM and you can extend it to another 4 gigs for a total of 8 gigs, but again, because of the limited storage, 128, you're also sacrificing the storage to get more RAM to speed up the opening of the apps. It's definitely your call if you want to do that. And obviously, one of the advantages of buying this phone is the micro SD card expansion that could read up to 1 TB for other files like music, videos, and images that's taken off the camera. This phone is running on MyOS based on Android 13, and I would say that this phone is almost stock Google experience with the inclusion of customizations from ZTE. We have a plethora of good wallpapers, and you can always customize the number of icons on the home screen, and by default, it uses somewhat like an iOS icons on the home screen that some users may like. With my personal use of this phone, I get one security update from the phone. It's now running on July 2024 security patch. Again, I wouldn't bank on the long security updates from ZTE, but I'm just glad that they're sending security patches from time to time for a $100 phone. And like the performance, the camera is mediocre at best. It is a 50 megapixel main sensor and a specified secondary sensor. I think this is a depth sensor because it gives you a message when I'm trying to cover it, so it certainly detects movement around it. I just couldn't see the use of it while navigating on the camera app. I'm trying to see if it's a macro sensor or a black and white, a telephoto or an ultra-wide sensor, and nothing is working, so I guess this could be a depth sensing sensor for portrait shots. The colors are fairly neutral on this phone. The images are natural looking with a lot of details, especially on good lighting environment. I would be really careful in low light situation because the images could be soft really quick. Here, I will give you a little bit more sample of the images and let you decide on it. Videos are also good. The main sensor can shoot up to 1080p at 30 FPS, and the selfie can shoot 720p at 30 FPS. Sadly, there's no 4K video recording, but I'm not surprised because you're only paying $100 for a great design and speakers. We are vlogging using the selfie camera of Galaxy S24 Ultra. Now we're switching to the Nubia Music. And this is the selfie video recording of Nubia Music in 720p at 30 FPS. In terms of video quality and image processing, it's just okay. It would not win any awards. Again, $100 phone. The 5000 mAh battery of this phone is just okay. I didn't do a scientific test of any sorts, but on my day-to-day usage, it's an easy one-day phone, but that's about it. I think it's something to do with the RAM management, as sometimes the phone will give me notification that an app is actually using a lot of resources that could impact the battery life. Also could be the big speaker or if you attach any other accessories like a wireless earbuds or smartwatch. Comparing this phone with other phones with similar processor like the Tecno Spark Go 2 2024 with the same Unisoc T606, I should say that the battery life is like 60 to 70% of that phone. Again, this is not scientific, but based from my personal experience. You get a fast charger out of the box and I could easily charge this phone 1.5 hours on my personal experience. All in all, this is a fun phone for $100 that I could easily recommend. If you're not a heavy gamer, you can buy 15 to 20 of these phones for a single Galaxy S24 Ultra or iPhone 15 Pro Max. And with its stunning design, great speaker, dual microphone port, and an easy full day of music experience, ZTE Nubia Music is a cheap phone that does not sacrifice the fun.